So hey guys, this is Kumaraguru from Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. So I am a 16-year-old ethical hacker and a cybersecurity enthusiast. So I'll be talking about social engineering and how to stay safe from fraudulent calls and emails. And I'll give some precautionary methods for even a general public to be precautionary over all this cyber frauds and all cyber attacks. Okay, so let's start with a small gist about me and who I am. So I am a 17-year-old cybersecurity enthusiast and an ethical hacker from Coimbatore. I am passionate about hunting bugs and vulnerabilities and reporting it to the companies, and so that I can earn some bounties. And I've earned a lot of bounties in some of the major companies over the world. So I'm also an aspiring full stack developer, and currently I am a good front end developer, but I aspire to become a full stack developer. So I also have 10 certifications in this domain of cybersecurity. And maybe I don't have certifications like CH or some things like that because they require 18 plus age. So I have some unofficial 10 plus certifications in this domain. So into this domain of cybersecurity for the past 6 years, I still remember I was just 11 years uh, when I started to hack. Like I was just a script kiddie during the ages of 11 and 12. But after I got enthusiastic about this, and I just wanted to learn more and more about this, and I just extended my wholehearted interest in this. So I love being updated with tech, and I am a co-founder at various blogs like g4gadget.in, and I also help developers in developing various apps, and I do many things of that sort. So the last thing is, it is easy to reach me out because I'm not a big celebrity, or I'm not like other people. So it is easy to reach me out through some contacts. So I'll give you my contacts, and if you have any doubts or any suggestions to be made regarding this, you can just contact me through that. Okay, so you can reach me out through Instagram, where I'll be always active. Like I'll always be there. And guru.317 is my ID over Instagram. So you can reach me out there. And my WhatsApp number, my personal WhatsApp number is also given. It is 9486447649. So you can also note that. And my emails to reach me out. And if you have any offers, you can just give it to that. So the main and important part is, please don't just ask me to hack any social media or any of that sort, because social media is not something that uh, people encourage to hack, and there is no point in hacking all that. And the next thing is, this is my first webinar, so I'll just try to keep myself a very short and frank. So I'll try to be honest, and if there are some grammatical mistakes or anything of that sort, just forgive me. I'll try to make it ready in the upcoming seminars. So we'll first know what is social engineering. Okay, before that, you just have to know about the disclaimer of this webinar. The content provided through this webinar is fully for educational purposes only. The aim of this webinar is to create awareness among the folks. So I'll not be responsible for any kind of damage, nor will be SECARMY. So we'll just go into this, and I'll just talk to you about what is social engineering and all that. Okay, before that, the most important part, we'll just know about what are our objectives before completing this webinar. Okay, so first point is, we'll know about what is social engineering, and we'll be able to have a clear view of it. So the next part is, we'll be able to know the various methods involved in social engineering and what is, and all the types of social engineering, and know about the basic tools used in social engineering by the hackers. And you can just note it down, and I'll not be responsible for anything you do with those tools. And I'll try to not show it fully, because I'm not very free to show everything, and I'll be restricted to say how it works alone. I'll not demonstrate it practically. So you can know about how to stay safe from fraudulent calls and emails and all that. So at the last, we'll have a conclusion about, like, we'll have some tips, and we'll share some knowledge and everything of that sort. Okay, so first, coming to what is social engineering. Social engineering is a term used for a broad range of malicious activities accomplished through human interactions. So, social engineering, I'll just leave all these definitions and all that. So, if we want to hack something, like take for example, you want to hack your friend's Facebook account. So, you have to approach him in a manner that he is ready to do some task that you say. So you should know about him, and you should know about how he will respond to your messages and what will make him more interested in responding. Like if he is maybe a Dhoni fanatic like me, you can maybe give him a link to some movie, maybe the movie of MS Dhoni. So he'll definitely click it and he'll just go to view it. So if he clicks this, if he clicks the link that you give, you will gain access to his Facebook account. That is what social engineering is like practically means. Next, it uses psychological manipulation tricks users into making security mistakes or giving away sensitive information. This is what I wanted to say about this. So when the user or your friend clicks your link, I mean the phishing link, which we call it technically. So I'll just talk about phishing later. So if you click that link, if your friend clicks that link that you give, he will be able to get a page same like Facebook. We'll take for example, he'll be able to get a same page like Facebook. He will misunderstand that as the original Facebook page, and he'll just log in it as it is. So after he logins, he won't see that URL actually. If he does that without seeing the URL, he's going to suffer because his credential information are going to come to us. Whatever he submits over that login is going to come to us. This is the main concept behind social engineering. So social engineering is one of the most important part of hacking, where you will have to interact with the victim whom you are going to hack, and you are going to get the sensitive information or give the exploit to him in a very good way. Like he should not get any doubt, or he should not get any misunderstanding, or he should just believe you and he should just do it. This is the main concept behind social engineering. Okay, we'll go to the next slide. So there are some types of social engineering. I've just given some types. So these are some vectors used in social engineering. Okay, the first type is phishing. The second type is vishing, which is also similar to phishing, which I'll be explaining. The third type is keylogging. Fourth type is using rat or malware, using links, using anything and everything in the world, because social engineering does not involve any big vectors. If your friend is such a dumb person, you can just ask him like, what is your password? And if he gives, he's like, he's the best part in hacking, and you can just easily get information from him. So if he's not going to, if he's a little clever, and if he's not going to leak out his information easily, you will have to use these vectors like phishing, vishing, keylogging, and all this stuff. Okay, so we'll see what is a social engineering cycle. So in the first social engineering cycle, we should be gathering information about the victim whom we are going to hack. Like take for example, if it is going to be a colleague, and if you are aware of his phone number and email ID and all the stuff of that sort, you can just have them and note them, and you should, after gathering information about him, you should just plan for the attack, like what kind of attack you are going to do to get information from him. The information in the sense I'm saying about the password. If you are having his email ID and phone number, for instance, and you need to hack his Instagram or Facebook account, so you can just get his password and gain access to his computer, I mean his Instagram account. So we'll have to plan the attack accordingly. And the third step is we should acquire tools. The main part in acquiring tools is there are a lot of malware also in the name of tools, so you should be very clever in using only the genuine tools. Like for example, the tools in Kali Linux, like social engineering toolkit is a very good bootstrap for social engineering. So the next thing after acquiring tools is attacking. The attack should be clever and should be short and should not have any big complications. You should just make it simple, and you should just have him quick. You should not confuse him, and you should not just make him think about what the link is. You should just make him do whatever you want. The fourth step is using the acquired knowledge. The information acquired from the attack should be used over this, and you can log in and you can have his account or whatever. So this is the main cycle behind social engineering. So I'll just repeat it once again: gathering information, planning the attack, acquiring tools, attack, and use acquired knowledge. So there are many more complications like two-step verification and all that stuff, and we'll be discussing about that in the next few slides. Okay, first we'll just know what is phishing. So phishing is a fraudulent attempt to obtain sensitive information such as usernames, passwords, credit card details by distinguishing oneself as trustworthy. So let's take an example. If Google asks you your email ID and password, for example, you log in your Gmail account and Google asks you for your email ID and password every time. And when it asks you, you just blindly give it off to it, because we have a thought that Google is a trustworthy site and there won't be any problem giving our data to them. So this is the main concept behind phishing. You should interrupt, interpret yourself as a trustworthy site, and you should just get information from them. So phishing is the most common way in which hackers obtain credentials easily. Yes, the most common way around internet is phishing. We always see some links sent by our friends and sent in groups or WhatsApp. Like we easily get free phones and all that, and it asks us our private information. This is none other than phishing. So phishing, I'll just repeat it again. Phishing is a fraudulent attempt to obtain sensitive information such as usernames, passwords, and credit card details by distinguishing oneself as a trustworthy. Okay, we'll just go to the next slide. So let us take for an instance, this is Facebook. So this is an authentic Facebook site, okay? Because you can see our URL is www.facebook.com. So this is something very trustworthy. So if you are going to enter your email and password here and log in, it is going to be the real Facebook site, and there will be no problems. If this URL bar is going to be different, yeah, you can distinguish this site as a phishing site. So this site will also have something called security encryption over here. Means HTTPS, this won't be read. It will be like it is a safe platform to give your information on. So this won't be any problem in logging in this. So this is called the major phishing. So there are sites like the ditto Facebook login page, but they won't be the real ones. They'll be like created by someone to gain our information, and they'll just hack our accounts and they'll be using that. So this is the major concept behind phishing. Okay, so I'll just demonstrate it to you once maybe in this. Okay. So this is a platform called Shadow Wave. Guys, I'm repeating it once again. I'm not responsible, nor SECARMY is not responsible for anything you do with this, because we are just trying to educate people and create an awareness about this. So I'll just open the link in the new tab. Okay, so this is a ditto Instagram page, but just see this link. This is not safe to you can just see connection is not secure. Logins entered on this page could be compromised. So this is not safe, and you can also see the URL here. The URL is completely different from the original Instagram page. So this is not something safe to be used. Okay, so I just try to give here like Google often pops up and helps us if there is some problem here. I mean, the browser helps us if there is something very dangerous. So I'll just give it here like test and test. Okay, I'll just log in here. Okay, so this has redirected, and this is where we'll be getting our passwords. We'll be having it at my victims. Just wait a second, it's just loading because of the ads. Yeah, so we are having our username and password over here. You can just see this, the time, this is the time that the user logged in, and this is the victim's IP address actually, because this is my IP address now. This is the IP address through which I logged in this. So you can also have this IP address, and you can just find which place you are using from and all these stuff from this. So this is also used to get the information about the IP address and where the person is using from. So you can just have look at the test and test as the username and test as a password. So this is how phishing takes place here. So it is necessary to have a look at that URL bar before we give any credential information, or we should just also look at this lock symbol so that we can be safe from such fraud and things. And this is the concept behind phishing. So the next thing is going to be very similar like this. It is going to be wishing. Wishing is the telephone equivalent of phishing. So in phishing, we just do in some sorts of links or some web pages or something like that. But in wishing, it is going to be different because we do it in telephone. Okay, so it is described as the act of using the telephone in an attempt to scam the user into surrendering private information that will be used for identity theft. Okay, what is identity theft? For example, you just call to, maybe we'll just talk about Swiggy. Maybe we'll take it as an example. Now, you call to Swiggy's customer care and ask them about some, maybe about the food and everything, and they call you back, and they just ask for your account details like email ID and password. You should be clever enough not to give, because no one from any Swiggy or any corporate calls you to ask for your private information. Even Swiggy's email ID and password are nothing of that sort. They will not be asking if they are legit, and it is going to be very risk if you are going to give your credentials to them. So wishing is the telephone equivalent of phishing. Anything scams done by telephone are going to be termed as wishing. uh, Mostly old and uneducated people easily fall as victims for wishing actually, because they just attend the calls and they just give information of the go. So it'll be easy for the person who is trying to wish. And this is also a type of social engineering attack. Like, this is not complicated like phishing. Like, you don't have to create a web page or anything of that sort. You just have to talk to them, and you just have to be trying to be professional, and you should just talk to them perfectly. So this is called wishing. To the next one, we go to call spoofing. So in this wishing, if we are going to use something called a method called call spoofing, it is going to be very it is going to make the victim uh, make us look trustworthy to the victim. Like, what if maybe you're having a friend, and he has a dad, and you're going to call your friend with his dad's number, and you are going to prank him. So in call spoofing, you're going to call with someone's number, and someone's number to someone, and you're going to act as if you are the person whom that caller ID belongs to. Like, take for example, if you are going to the same example where you call your friend with his father's number, the caller ID for your friend will be displayed as his father's number when he gets the call. So call spoofing is one of the powerful methods which is going to make the victim believe that you are trustworthy. So how does this call spoofing takes place? Call spoofing is not something like hardware related or anything of that sort. It is done only using VoIP, means voice over IP. That is the main concept behind call spoofing nowadays. There are many services giving voice calling online without any verification of number or anything like that. You can just call with your number, and to whom you are going to call, you just enter it and you just call it off that go. So it is going to be very easy. And call spoofing is one of the methods that are going to be threatening for the future. This is used by script kiddies to prank friends, which result in big problems. Most of the people like they easily use this method to prank their friends without knowing the seriousness of this method, because this can cause a lot of problems. And voice over IP is something that has some vulnerability, and I hope someone will just try to clear this out and pave us a better way in the future. So, what is email spoofing? Email spoofing is something like same like call spoofing. In call spoofing, we spoof the number of that individual. In email spoofing, we spoof the email address of someone. Like for example, I can mail you just like I mail from Google. Like I can mail you from support@google.com, and I can make you believe that I am a Google employee mailing you, and you will just respond me whatever it is like. If it is a trustworthy source, and if you get a message like please give me your email address and password, we have a technical problem or something of that sort, you'll just reply to that email address with the password and email. So that is not something legit. It is going to be a scam, and it is going to some risk your account. So this is called email spoofing. It can be done with very basic scripts, and this is being done for a long period of time, and people are not able to fix this problem. And I hope this will be fixed soon by some person. So next I give a tip. So as I said before, no one from Facebook, Insta, or any social network or any service asks for your password or OTP. This is something that every social network tries to make us understand, but we still give it easily to people who call and ask us, or ask us by emails or anything of that sort. This should be avoided, because giving our password or OTP gives the full access to our account, and they can just do anything they want. They can change the password, they can change the account into theirs. Like we'll just lose our access to. So going to the next slide, what is keylogging? Okay, keylogger is nothing but a software. That software is used to create something called a payload, and if the victim installs that payload, it is going to be very simple for us to get all the keystrokes of his computer. Like maybe if I create a software, if I create a payload and send it to my victim through a pen drive, and if he is going to just inject the pen drive, and if he is going to copy that file and execute it, all his keystrokes will be captured in the background and will be sent to me through an FTP server or an email address or whatever. You can just all get all the keystrokes. So this is one of the lethal in problems just from many days. So undetectable keylogging for a long time makes way for loss of critical information at various IT companies. So many of the IT companies have already encountered this problem from their rivals. Like they already like their rival companies send a keylogger to that company through an email, and if that attachment is executed, all the keystrokes will just go to uh, the person who has created the keylogger through an FTP server, or like maybe an email too. So keylogger is something that is very dangerous. We'll just see one keylogger which is in Windows. It is like not a very advanced or anything of that sort. It is very easy to use. I'll just show you that keylogger, and you can just have a look. I just repeat it once again that this webinar is completely for educational purposes, and please don't use this for any bad thing. This is called this is called Black Stealer. So I'll just explain this. So this is the FTP settings. through which you will get the information from the victim. I mean, the keystrokes of the victim will come to you through this information that you give over the FTP settings, FTP host, username and password and everything. And this is scripted settings where you will be able to give encryption password and what will be the time to sleep, means the time between time interval, and the icon of that payload that you give. And this is the spread settings through which you will be spreading. USB spread is like whatever USB is injected into that device, it will automatically get spreaded through to that USB by copying. And there are many options like folder spread, chat spread, P2P spread, and many things of that sort. So there are some extra settings like bypass firewall and melt no IP, error message, bypass virtual box. This is something, this is a powerful option. So anti Wireshark, anti sandbox C, anti spy the spy, and there are more options here. So this, and once after you give everything, you can just press this button, build stealer, and you'll get your payload. And if you send the payload to the victim, and if he just executes it or installs it, the access is yours. All his keystrokes will just come to you via this FTP settings that you provide. So this is going to be a very, very dangerous thing that no one should everyone should be aware of. So we'll just just saw what is key logging, and we'll go to the next step. What is rat? Okay, rat stands for remote access trojan, R for remote, A for access, and T for trojan. So it is undetectable and can be very dangerous. Nowadays some of the antiviruses detect rat viruses, but still there are many other complicated rat programs that can even bypass antivirus settings and defender settings. So rat is something like same like it is not like restricted access about getting keystrokes alone like a keylogger. Rat provides you access to the victim's device fully. Like you can just, it is like similar to having your victim's phone or a computer on your hand. It is like you have the whole access to his account, I mean the device. So in remote access trojans, first the hacker just makes a payload called the rat virus. It will just resemble, maybe if it is going to be a rat virus for an Windows operating system, it is going to be in .exe format, executable format. And if it is going to be for an Android system, it is going to be in .apk, and it goes on like that. So if, for example, let us assume that we are going to hack someone's phone, maybe. So we are going to make a payload uh, called payload.apk, which is going to be the rat virus. So we are going, the first step is making the payload in our device, and we are going to make many processes like port forwarding and etc etc. We just have to tunnel to a port, and there are some complicated things about that. We'll just not talk about that. We'll just make the rat virus ready, and we'll just upload it to the web server or anywhere for that victim to download it. So the main important step is making the victim download our payload. This is where social engineering acts. uh, it is it is like you should know what are the interests of that victim, and you should maybe make him to install that apk by you can, if he's in the same sort, if he is an MS Dhoni fan, and you can name it as MS Dhoni official apk or something of that sort, and keep Dhoni's image in the icon, so that he's just going to be he's just going to blindly install it, and he's just going to execute it. And once after he executes it, the attacker gains complete access of the system. First the file is uploaded to a server or a download space where this file is downloaded by the victim. So the victim installs it and gives all permissions required to run that apk, and the attacker gains 100% complete access to that system to which the payload is installed. So this is not dependent on location or anything. If you're going to port forward, if you're going to do something called port forwarding, it is not going to be dependent on the location or the Wi-Fi that you've connected or nothing of that sort. It's going to be location independent, and you can do it to anyone's device anywhere in the world. Okay, this is called remote access Trojan. So there are many GUI, geographical user interface, many rat virus making softwares with graphical user interface. I just list a few, like there is one called Droid Jack, and there is one called Androspy, and there are many such things. And you can just try it for educational purposes and not to involve in any fraudulent or any activities of that sort. So the next thing, how to detect a rat virus. This is going to be very important because I hope many of your phones will already be affected with rat virus if you're going to be very not very protective about your device. So you can just trace if you have any rat virus on your phone or on your device. So the first thing, most of the antiviruses detect rat viruses nowadays, but maybe more old versions don't work nowadays. But technically, advanced rat viruses are not detected by antiviruses. So the thing I was speaking about, Droid Jack and all these things, they are not being able to trace by most of the antivirus softwares. So you can just have a blind check at them by doing the things that I say. The first and important thing is your phone's performance will immensely get slow. There will be some process running on the background, so your phone's performance will go down and your battery will go down very fastly. And you can just assume you have a rat virus running in the background always if your phone's battery is going low immensely. So the second thing is, if an app asks you unwanted permissions, you can doubt if it is a rat virus. Rat virus, an important thing is, rat virus can be embedded with any by embedded or binded with any other APK or any other exe file, and it can be executed along with it. Like, so for example, I just embed my rat virus to some good game, and if I send you the game, you are going to blindly install it, and the game also works normally. But there'll be a rat virus executed along with the game, and it'll be running on the background all the time, and it'll be tracing you whatever you are doing, and it'll just capture you, your camera, your all your permissions, and all your storage, and everything will be accessed by someone who or some third party person. So this disabling unwanted permissions may be of great use if you're going to avoid these rat viruses. So whenever you're going to install a application, you just can have a look at the permissions it demands. Like if a document editor if a document editor, like I just don't want to give name, maybe if some document editor asks you permissions for, like asks you permissions for, like camera permissions and all of that sort, you can just think about, like, why does a document writing application need a camera permission? And if you think you don't want to give the camera permissions to them, you can just deny the application from getting camera permissions by during a startup in the settings, or maybe. So you can disable unwanted permissions, and it'll be of great use for sure. So clickbaits, we're going to see about an interesting topic called clickbaits. Anything that makes the user curious to click at it is called a clickbait. They may be links, images, or any files of that sort. An action is only initiated if the user performs any specific trigger. So no hack is carried out without any trigger from the user. Like if you want to gain access to your to a victim from his computer with a rat virus, the virus is going to be active only if he's going to launch the virus. It is not going to be initiated until he is going to launch the virus. So it is important that the important to know that any action is initiated only if the user triggers something. So it is important to do any action on it is important to be careful before doing any action on the internet. We should analyze it, and we should know the consequences of the action that we are going to do, and we should not simply blindly click the links that we get, and we should be cautious about this. So this is called clickbaits. For an example for clickbaits, I'll just say like the same way. If your friend is going to be a Dhoni fan, and if you send a link like click here to see Dhoni has retired, click here to see his last pictures and everything, and he's just going to click it blindly. Be sure about that. And if he clicks that, you can just initiate any action that you want, and the link may be the link may be an IP grabber, or it may take screenshot, or it may take a photo from your friend cam, or it may record audio, or the link may do whatever it wants. The link will just redirect it to a page, but the page is going to do the action of whatever the hacker wants. So these are called clickbaits. You should not be a bait for all such things, and you should always think a second time before doing all this. So we'll just get another tip here. However efficient the hacking technique or method is, everything involves a bit of social engineering to trigger the exploit. So the most important part in hacking is social engineering. Every exploit has a part of social engineering in it, and there is a use of social engineering in most of the hacking methods. So social engineering is like employing employing the victim to do some action out of our uh, it is like we make them do that. They don't do it voluntarily, we just make them do that, and it will just trigger some action that we want. Like for the example, in phishing, we send them the link and they are going to log in, and if they log in, we have the information with us, and we just change the password, or we just get the access of their account. So this is how social engineering works, and it is one of the most important parts of hacking. So going to the next slide, we'll see about what is bad USB. So USBs that are used to capture sensitive information from a device is called a bad USB. Example, USB rubber ducky. USBs, like a USB can have an auto run file. Like for example, not only USBs, you can also take CD-ROMs and storage devices. So if you are going to maybe install a game from a CD-ROM, you're going to put the game inside game CD inside the computer. When there will be something called auto run. Auto run is like making it will be like it'll pop up a window for the user to either install the program or do whatever the CD drive is meant to. So in the same way, you can make an autorun.inf file, and you can just make make a program like if the person is going to inject the USB into a computer, you can just maybe get automatically executed some program, like it may be a batch file program, or it may be a virus, or maybe a Trojan, or maybe a rat virus, or whatever. The autorun file can make some program run in the background or in the foreground or whatever. A single quick injecting of a USB can bolster any exploit. As I said, this USB rubber ducky is one of the types of bad USB where the USB will make malicious programs run over the victim's computer. So it is important to scan the pen drive and storage devices for viruses before we use it, and just before even injecting it, we should just verify if it is from a trusted source, like if it is from a friend, or we should not just inject pen drives that random pen drives that we get over offices. It is important to scan for viruses. So this is called bad USB. And USB rubber ducky is a bad USB developed by HackFi. It is like a tool developer in the field of hacking. They develop more tools for hacking. So the next thing, just a minute. So the next thing, what will you do if you get such a message? Like Your tax refund is now available. Claim it here, and there is a link here and directly on your debit card. And this is a message received from someone called HMRC, some SMS sender ID called HMRC. So when we get some messages like this, we just blindly see this, we have some money over, and we can just transfer it to our debit or credit card, and we just blindly click it and click this link, and we'll just go inside. But we don't know if the link is going to be safe or unsafe, or it may also be a phishing link or an IP grabber link, or it can be anything. We should just be safe, and we should just know if it is legit or not. So it is important that we are going to verify the source from where the SMS comes. So yet another information is SMS IDs can also be spoofed. Maybe it is very easier than call spoof. It is like you just send an SMS from any ID you want. So you should also doubt SMS sending IDs before you trust them fully. So you should always be cautious, and you should just be careful from all these types of scam messages. Next thing, a popular tool used in social engineering. It is called SET, abbreviated as SET, and it is Social Engineering Toolkit. It is used in most of the Linux distros, like in Kali, it comes as an inbuilt application. So, Social Engineering Toolkit is where you'll be having many social engineering attack vectors like phishing and much of that sort. You can also send spoof SMS messages, emails, and everything from Social Engineering Toolkit. It has a collection of good tools used for social engineering. So do check it out. It is an inbuilt application in Kali Linux. Maybe you can just check it out, but don't use it for any wrong cause. Just have a look at it and learn things from that. Social Engineering Toolkit is something very powerful, and you should just be aware of it. So over to the next slide we go. Okay, what is two-step verification? So two-step verification is an extra layer of protection, and it makes it even harder for the hackers to gain access. So we've heard of this two-step verification in most of our social media sites like Facebook, Instagram, and all this. In two-step verification, for example, let's take Instagram. And if you enable two-step verification for your account, when someone tries to log in with your email address or phone number and password, after this, there will be a second layer of protection where you should be providing the OTP for logging into your account. This is like a very compulsory method in credit card transactions and all this. So this two-step verification will be a future thing for security in all the social medias, and it is very safe to enable your two-step verification in all your social media, so that your account stays with you and no one gains access to it, even if they know the passwords. So two-step verification can not only be authenticated with SMS, email, or an authenticate. It can also be authenticated by an authenticator app. For example, there is an app called Google Authenticator app, where you can authenticate your OTP without using an SMS or an email for logging in your Google account. So if you're having an authenticator app in one of your devices, and if you're going to log it in a new device, you will get the code in the authenticator app in your old device. So you can just have that code from your old device, and you can just put it in this new device, and you will have the Google account logged in the new device too. So two-step verification is something that is very important to be enabled, and I hope everyone just enables their two-step verification at least after seeing this video. So we'll go to the next slide. Okay, danger in open Wi-Fi. So mostly we go to malls and restaurants where they offer us open Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi, and we just don't have to log in, just don't have to put any password, or it'll be just open. You can just connect it on the go. So open Wi-Fis are not as they are meant to be. They are like they can lead you to serious problems like A hacker can easily gain access to your computer connected to the same Wi-Fi network of the hacker. Like if you and your friend are connected in the same Wi-Fi network, it is like easier for the hacker to for you to gain access to your friend's network, because both of them are connected in the same network. It is going to be very easier for you to hack his device. It is not advisable to use any open networks, as they make it easier for the hacker to gain access to your device. Uh, as I said, using many network spoofing apps and many of that sort, he can just easily send you a payload or anything, and you'll just blindly open it, and there'll be serious problems after that. So there are a lot more dangers in open Wi-Fi networks, and it is not recommended to connect to open Wi-Fi networks. Maybe you can just connect, make your Wi-Fi network secure too, because if someone is going to use your Wi-Fi network which is open, he can easily get your send a payload to your device, or he can change router settings or anything he wants. So open Wi-Fi should be avoided. We'll go to the next slide. So here, what are grabber links? IP grabber links can be used to find the IP address of anyone who clicks on it. With an IP, a hacker can perform various attacks like denial of service, geolocate you, etc. So, excuse me. IP grabber links can be used to find the IP address. In the same way of a phishing link, you just send a link to your victim whose location or IP address you want to find. So if you send the link, the victim is going to blindly press the link, and after he goes in, there'll be a few JavaScripts and all those executed, and you'll just have his IP address with which he just pressed that link and came into that web page. So with a grabber link, you will be able to find his IP, with which you can find geolocate his location, and you can also do denial of service attacks, where you can restrict internet from his device, from his IP address. So all these attacks can be carried out if you are going to blindly press some grabber link, and if you're going to be stupid. So the next, so before this, I'll just show you some websites that provide IP grabbing services. So we just go there, and I just put something like IP grabber. So this is an IP grabber, grabify.link. I repeat it again, you just know all these stuff only for educational purposes, and don't get misguided, and don't use this for any criminal activities or anything of that sort. So in this, you're going to press create URL, where you agree to terms and conditions. So I will just take a look at these instructions. First, you just have to enter a URL. First, you have to create a link by clicking this create URL. I'm actually not meant to do this, because I'm just going to teach you. So if you want to do this for educational purposes, you have to click this create URL, and there will be a URL generated, and you should send that URL to the victim whose IP address you want to find, and give the IP logger to the generated client. Then there'll be something called tracking code. After you send the link to the person, and after he presses it, if you want to find his IP address, you're going to put the tracking code, and you'll be able to find the person's IP address. So this is how it works. There are many sites like iplogger.org and many such things too, blaze.com. You can just have a look at them. The next thing we'll be going to see is accessing camera. As I told you before, with a link, You can just even access front camera image of anyone who presses it. It is also possible to record audio with it. All of these happens only when the person presses the link. So the thing I'm coming to tell you is, all this happens only because of social engineering. The it is social engineering which employs to make the person click the link. It is like you should know about his likes and dislikes, and you should make him, you should like force him, and he should get that curiosity of pressing that link and seeing what it is inside. So that is called social engineering. All these are just vectors used in social engineering on the exploits that can be carried out with social engineering. So the main part about social engineering it is the way how you employ it to the person. It is called social engineering. So we'll go to the next slide. So thank you with the slides. We'll just have some practical things after this. So we're going to spoof an email address with some of the online email spoofing providers. And it is surprising that Google has listed all these websites that promote illegal activities over their website. So I'm not going to encourage any of criminal activities with this. This is just done for educational purposes, and you're going to learn a lot from this, and you are going to stay precaution, and you're going to be precautionary over all the emails that you get, and you should just analyze it before you believe it. So after I go to this site mkey.czat, there is something like from name, from email, to subject, and all these things. So the from name is the place where you're going to put uh, your name, like the spoofed name. Like for example, I'm going to spoof an email address from Google. So from email is going to be like support@google.com. So I again repeat, I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to demonstrate how it works, and I'm just not going to show you the spoof message, or I'm not going to spoof. I'm just telling you how to spoof the message. So to address is where you're going to enter the recipient's email address. So I'll just enter my email address. Subject, I'll just put it like tests. And if you want to attach anything with this email, you can just put your attachment here. And there are like advanced settings about this, like reply to, errors to, CC, BCC, priority, and X mailer. This is like from, and confirm delivery, confirm reading, an STMP server port, and all these things. So I'll just close this advanced settings. And this is where you enter the content of your email address. You can also embed text or HTML documents with this, and you can also use the editor if you want to do that. So after I do this, if I just press this send button, the spoofed email address is going to reach my email address from kumaraguru7@gmail.com to kumaraguru7@gmail.com, and the mail is going to be from Google, and it is going to come from the email address support@google.com. So the thing is, uh, most of the times Gmail detects these mails, these fraudulent mails in the spam folder, and they won't reach you to the all mails inbox. So we mostly don't get any problem because Google sorts our problems all mostly. But sometimes it can also come to you as a normal mail, and when you are going to open it, you should be clever enough to identify it as a spoofed email, and you should think twice before you do whatever the email says. So this is the way you spoof fake emails. So the next thing employed in social engineering, we'll just have a look at it. Just hold on, I'll just pass the screen. So here, this is an website which is used to spoof SMS. So I'm not sure if this is going to work, but it promises a service like this. And this is also listed in Google. And it is very surprising to see such fraudulent sites being listed in Google. So number to send from the SMS sender's phone number, spoof number this is, and country, the receiver's country should be entered here, and the receiver's phone number should be entered here, and the message should be entered here, and this captcha should be solved, and this send SMS button can send you a spoofed SMS. So this is how SMS spoofing takes place. So we just go on to the next thing. So I'm going to show you some spyware and icon changers and all these stuff which can be used as vectors in social engineering. So here there are spywares and keyloggers. So see this, this is keylogger, and this is all these four are kinds of keyloggers, and they are available online to be very surprising. And anyone can download this and they can just do any malpractice that they want. So uh, people should always be cautious and should always stay safe from all these stuff. It is important to analyze any software that we see from we see from, and we should always think a second time before executing it, because anything happens only if you're going to execute the program or the thing. So we also have icon changes, like if if it is going to be a virus program, like let us take we have a virus program called ABC virus. So you can change the icon of this virus from to like Firefox's icon, and you can just name it as Firefox. And if you are going to send it to the victim, if the victim is not going to go to properties, and if he is not going to see if it is a legitimate program, then it is going to be very difficult for you, because the virus can cause any kind of damage and to any extent. So it is very important to see if the program is legit, and you should not maybe blindly press any links or any applications without analyzing it a bit. So we have many of those softwares here, virus maker and everything are available online. So anyone can do anything, so we should just be safe from all these stuff. Okay guys, I hope this session should be an interesting one for you. Anyway, this is my first webinar online, so I think if there was any mistake from my side, I'll just correct it from the next webinars. And I hope every one of you had some knowledge with this webinar, and I promise I'll try to make more webinars with SECARMY in the future. And I'll just also ask you to to follow SECARMY's Instagram page, and you can also subscribe to SECARMY's YouTube page, and you can also reach me out by the given contacts that I've given you during the start of the session. You can reach me out regarding anything, and but except hacking social media accounts, and you can clear your doubts. I also love people, encouraging people in coming into bug hunting, and I can help you out if you're going to be interested in that. Thanks for watching this webinar, guys. So I'll catch you in some in the webinar later. Thanks for the good time, and bye, guys.